Well, like we're gonna do like X-Dog universities and like being able to do that type of. You are now listening to the most impactful podcast in the dog world, where we bring you massive value and insight to some of the greatest dog minds today. Our mission is to help dog owners extend the life of their dogs through nutrition, fitness, and education, so you can give your dog a higher quality of life and build a better bond. Whether you're an everyday dog owner, train canine athletes, or own a dog business, we're here to level you up. It's time for you and your dog to become certified true beasts.
Oh, there we go.
What is up,
Mikey Mike?
ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the True Beast Podcast, Season 2, Muscle Bully, Episode 13. And as y'all can see, we're coming to y'all on a new platform. We should be live on Facebook and YouTube right now. If you're tuning in, make sure you leave us some comments so we can holler at you. And everything's going to work the same.
Yeah.
How y'all doing today?
Pretty good.
Excellent, man. I'm excited about this this new format. Right, we got a new guest tonight too, which I'm excited about. Rod, you probably know the most about him, so why don't you kind of like give the viewers a little bit insight of what we can expect?
QK is just one of us. You know what I mean? It's just still fairly new to the American Bully, building his program. Excellent handler, excellent trainer. Even at just being new at it, like he has a thing for it. So
yeah.
But he's one of those when we want to have a casual conversation, we just want to bullshit and talk about dogs. He's a good one to bring on. You know what I mean? Because he doesn't. I don't think he has any preconceived notions. He doesn't have a.
What about just notions?
Yeah, and you may have a couple of those. I don't know.
Are you guys able to respond over here on the chat? Can you guys do that?
If they leave us something.
Yeah,
Nobody said nothing yet.
Right.
But I'll be able to post it on the screen and all that when they do. So if you're in here, you're tuning in, you make sure leave us a comment, let us know you're in here.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the place you can leave your questions.
Yeah, man.
Stuff.
QK, I like same thing. I met him, started going to shows. He was one of the people that was just already there. And he's just a super so I didn't know QK from I didn't know him, right? And I had shown in a class or whatever, I took second place and I came out. And he came to me and he took the time to ask the judge for me and came to me and was like, hey, this is what the judge said that you did wrong. You should try this and you should try that. And I was like, I appreciate that, bro. I didn't know that was a thing, right? So he just made that accessible to me and was like, hey, they said you probably would have won if you would have did this or this. So he's just super cool dude. I know him from that and the stack boxes.
Yeah.
He makes some badass stack boxes. Now he's upgraded his presence with it and he's doing the full graphic wraps on the boxes and shit now. And they're super dope, bro.
Yeah, you doing his marketing?
No. Okay. I mean, I've done some work for him, I think before, once or twice. I don't know, but he's pretty savvy, bro. I'm saying I think he's got his own website, he's got his brand up, you know what I'm saying? He's very, very business savvy, to say the least.
I met him at the first show we ever went to and brought a dog.
Yeah.
So that was that story where Kimber got booted out of the standard class and the classic class, and he had a female in the classic class. So, but we were boothing right beside each other.
Well, speaking of shows, you two went to shows this weekend. How'd that go?
I didn't.
I thought you said
co-own. That dog's on co-own, so the lady took her.
And you sent your wife to go do the dirty work. Well,
sent her down there to take care of it. No, we did good. So, like we discussed when Kev was on, that Precious hadn't got it finished yet in BRC. So that's a BRC show. So we sent her down there, and she won three of the four. Yeah, 3 of the 4 champion classes.
All right.
And she got a best of show or best of breed, and you got to have a breed to grand. So basically, she just needs 2 more, and then she'll be dual grand champion.
So how is their point system different than the ABKC, or is
it's
it
a little bit
generally
different.
the same? Yeah.
You have to have 5 wins, and you have to take an overall. So you
Okay.
can actually, you can grand an ABKC and never take best in show.
Gotcha.
You know, you can just, as long as you accumulate.
So that's just something part of the criteria. Like you got to get all the other stuff and
Right.
an overall win.
Yeah, you
Gotcha.
got to take an overall. So she got her overall, and she got 3. So she just needs 2 more, and then she'll be good to go. Dual grand champion, which is crazy for me. You know, I've been around her all my life, or all her life.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it's nuts the way people react when they see her.
Well, let's bring him on, man. I got a lot of questions
All
for
right.
him. I know Roger has like 1 or 2 questions for him. And Zach, he's just got to have somebody who's in the classics just like him.
Welcome, sir.
Yes, sir.
What's up?
Yeah.
How we doing today?
Actually, he has. We co-own some dogs, so
Yeah.
I'm not doing too bad.
Let's talk about the history between you and Roger. How'd you guys meet? And how did the co-own situation, arise?
So, was the first show that we met at Jacksonville or Louisiana?
No, Louisiana.
So, I did meet you I did. So I had I had a classic clique daughter that we like it was when I first started showing really, and I just wanted to actually put myself out there, and I took the drive from here in Florida to Louisiana, and that's where I met Roger. He had a classic. At the time, I thought she was a standard female, and that literally is the show where they started the change from making some of the standard dogs that we thought were standard classic.
Yeah.
And that's when I actually got to meet him, got to introduce myself to him, Dana, and some I think I met Sam and Hannah for the first time at that show too.
I don't think Sam was there. Was he?
Yeah, he was there.
Was he?
Yeah, because he had Luca.
Ooh.
I think they just brought Luca. I thought Hannah brought Luca. He may have been there. I don't know. He was definitely at Jacksonville.
I took a picture.
No, there you go. He's got it. He said he's got a picture. It's over with.
I believe you. It may have been. No, Jacksonville was like the first show I ever went to.
Yeah.
But we didn't take a dog. We didn't compete. So
Gotcha.
That was Shreveport, Louisiana, was where we were all freezing our ass off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the building wasn't really a building. It was just half walls. So, and it was not warm. But yeah, ended up Kimber being in the same class as QK's girl.
It's probably really good for the dogs, just bad for the people.
Right.
I mean,
being cold, yeah.
They had that weird shit on the floor. It was like a green mulch or something.
Yeah, it was like a mulch.
But it was dyed green.
Yeah.
So by the time, and Luca Brasi, he's so short. Like by the time the show was over, his nuts were green.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
It was bad. It was bad because the dye.
I wonder what they do that for.
And stuff. Well, I think it's for
livestock. Yeah, it was a livestock stable.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it was rough on the shorter dogs. They were having some difficulty.
Yeah.
Maneuvering and all that. But
So y'all are building a relationship. Y'all are seeing each other at shows. At what point was it a mutual, or was this one of y'all came to the other one was like, hey, I want to co-own a dog, or was it Roger reach out to QK and was like, hey, I want to bring you on board? Like, how did that situation arise, and how long did it take for y'all to get to that point?
I honestly think like it was more so a thing that came over time. We were having our conversations like here and there. We knew each other through somebody we had both got a dog from, and we just started chatting from there. And so everybody knows Gambit that knows me. After I had to close Gambit, he was actually my only dog that I was showing and about to get ready and start studying out at the time. After I had to close Gambit, Roger was one of those people that was there for me, just being super supportive. And eventually, it just like he was hinting at it, like, yo, I might have a dog but like I didn't get the hints at first.
Yeah.
And I like it. They were super subtle hints. He thinks they were very obvious. He thinks they were obvious, but like, and also at first I was one of those people that I was like, I'd rather just buy my dog and produce with everything else. But just thinking about it, like as time went on, co-owns can work very well. So
I always say, man, like I see a lot of horror stories on Facebook. I mean, we all do. You see the situations where people are like, oh, I trusted this person, I want to do a co-own, and I tell people all the time, like, I don't see a problem in it as long as there's that transparency, right? Like you gotta be dealing with somebody you know is fucking honest, not gonna bullshit you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not gonna work with just some random person you find on Facebook and be like, well, I'm just gonna co-own it to little Johnny because I can't sell the dog to nobody else.
Who's little Johnny?
Yeah, I'm just whoever got the dog on co-own because they couldn't sell it to nobody else. You know, it's just got to be a real relationship. I feel like QK said, like it can work. You know, it just has to be 100% transparency as far as what the actual owners want obligated on the other end from the co-own.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think.
You think?
I only really co-own with people that I reach out to.
Yeah.
So, like I have a reason to reach out to them. I get people that message me and want to co-own, but I don't know them. You know what I mean? And it's tough. Like if I take the time to learn, and if I know you, then that's different. But with QK, and it's that I always tell people, like, both people have to bring something to the table.
Yeah.
And with that case, I had QK that knew how to train dogs, was willing to show dogs, was willing to breed dogs. So that
there's some value.
That's a huge value for me to co-own a dog to him.
Yeah.
And then in reverse, he has to look at me and say, okay, other than this dog that I'm getting from him, what does he bring to the table? Yeah.
So what are some of the common misconceptions that most people don't think about when it comes to co-own? Because, when people think about co-own, they're like, oh, I'm going to get this dog, but they don't really factor in the feeding, the veterinarian bills, stuff like that. What would be some of the other, factors that involved in co-ownership?
So 99.9% of the time, the dog's not free.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge misconception or the fact that there's a discount. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's one of your top pick dogs, unless it's like someone you're co-owning with, like you're a close friend of yours, then maybe. But
for sure,
if it's a new person you're co-owning with, you're probably not going to get the dog at a discount. You're probably going to have to pay full price, because if it's a breeder that shows dogs, that does everything himself, he doesn't have any motivation to get rid of the dog. There's no motivation for him to get rid of it. So you're still going to have to buy it, and that's your only option too. A lot of breeders will be like, I know what this dog is because I'll show it and champ it out myself.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to give it away. That's just all there is to it. But you're still getting a huge opportunity. A lot of people just look at the dog and say, I'm getting the dog, right? But there has to be more than that. It can't just be a dog.
Yeah.
There has to be a network. There has to be some kind of benefit other than the dog.
Yeah, and I feel like both parties have to share some similarities in their vision.
Okay. Yeah. Well, aren't you more of a classic breeder and Roger's more breed type?
Not necessarily. So I started off as somebody that was more so towards the classic, but I started learning. And breed type is something that's a part of the American bully. Mass, structure for me is one of those top priorities, but at the same time, if the dog lacks everywhere else, what does the structure matter?
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, it takes that learning process, and a lot of times, like if you didn't breed the dog, if you didn't produce the dog, and you sold the dog, well, then you're in a different dilemma, right? Because you have to actually go somewhere for somebody to say, hey, that's not what you thought it was, or that's not this is what it is now. So it's like a lot of people had to go through that process to learn, because a lot of times, like you said, people will sell a dream quick just to sell a dog. And the biggest thing that I see a lot of times is when people class their puppies. It's like most of the time, if it's like already a pocket, like, and it's, but most of the time you can't do that shit. And a lot of people be like, oh, I got pocket bullies for sale. And it's like, how do you know? How do you know?
I'm glad you brought that up, because maybe a week and a half ago, I just made a post regarding something just like this. People breeding classic dogs and posting all the puppies, trying to sell them as all standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
at
Exactly.
6-7 weeks old.
Yeah.
And that's the worst one because honestly, I've seen dogs that, they would look like they were going to be a classic and they end up being a standard. They end up just popping that bone out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think read your puppy. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Never pay attention to what comes out of people's mouths. Read your contract. Because 99, I go 100% of the time, no one puts in there. He's playing with his buttons.
He found the buttons.
No one puts in there that they guarantee phenotype because you can't do it.
Right.
You could breed 2 pockets and you'll get a standard from it. There's no way in hell I can guarantee phenotype because it just doesn't. Maybe later, but not right now.
Hey, you can stick your head up a bull's ass, or you can take the butcher's word for it. Who's that?
Yep. Get
All
you
right.
some. Everyone needs to bring what they say. You should never say what class they should be as a puppy. There you go.
Yeah.
Because we don't know.
Yeah, there's
There
no
you
way.
go.
There's no way.
Yeah.
And for those tuning in, if you guys can, put those messages inside chat. What's your opinion on co-ownership, and have you ever experienced? We'd love to, hear some of some experiences that you guys had, good and bad.
I was just about to say good and bad because there's a lot of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like
I get messages all the time from people.
Yeah.
And they reach out to me and they're like, "Hey, this is a situation. This is my co-own, and I'm co-own with this person, and they won't do this or they don't do this." And sometimes I understand where they're coming from, and sometimes you have to give them tough love and be like, "Yeah, you signed a contract and you agreed that you were going to take care of the dog." Like,
so what happens to that? Because contracts are kind of hard. Let's talk about contracts. Like, is it important to also? It's really important to strategize your contract as well. Like, for example, if somebody's out of state and the contract is based on their state, you might lose leverage compared to if it's based on where your LLC is or your business is, established. I don't think think about that.
Yeah, because
that's a loophole.
The contract is established. Like, if you sign a contract with me for a puppy, that contract is established in the state of West Virginia.
Yeah.
So if it comes down to legal, you're gonna have to come to West Virginia because
and if you don't, there's going to be a lot more legalities against you as well. So
that's very interesting.
So it's just one of those things. It's not, it's never come down to that. And 100%, I just tell people to read to it for clarity. But I think everything's pretty common sense in there.
Yeah,
it's your dog, so all the responsibilities of it being your dog are, it's just no different.
What happens if a dog, happens, God forbid, dies in the hand of another person, that's co-owned? What type of proof and does the co-owner need and stuff like that?
And that's a scenario where it's beneficial. If I have a dog that's co-owned with QK and God forbid something happened to that dog, I'm taking his word for it.
Yeah.
I don't need a contract. I don't need a fucking report or any bullshit.
Well,
I know it's him. He's not.
It's in mine.
You know what I mean?
It's in mine that if anything does happen, a process needs to be done within a certain amount of time to distinguish. Because at the end of the day, it's a business endeavor and it's a lot of money on the table, especially if it's tens of thousands of dollars that a dog costs. So,
right.
I trust you 100%, but at the same time, let's just say some freak of the shit happens and now they don't want to be honest with me. They don't want to tell me the true story. Well, the paperwork's not going to lie when they do that test and figure out why the dog died, really.
Yeah. What if, like, for example, hypothetically, I was co-owning a dog with you, Zach, and I didn't want to tell you I was hitting on hard times, wasn't feeding the dog, and you ain't seen the dog in months. And, next thing you know, the dog's like, starved.
Well, a lot of the times I think that's the situation that we do see on social media. It's usually a situation where somebody trusted somebody and then the dog ends up being in a living situation that's just not respectable, right? So it's like they're malnourished. Now they're malnutritioned or whatever, and malnourished. Yeah, they were malnourished. There we go. I had to get it out. But like it's always the living situation. It's not never really like, oh, they took my dog and bred it without me knowing. It's 9 times out of 10, it's usually the health of the dog or the way it lives that makes the owner have to be like, why I gotta go take the dog back now?
Right.
I can say I've seen a good bit of both. When it comes to people breeding their dogs to something that the other co-owner didn't agree to, and so on and so forth.
And that's why I said, man, it just has to be like, if you're gonna do it like so the one that I co-own, it's a lady that I knew.
Ruh-roh.
Uh-oh.
Doesn't freeze my ass.
You know, I'm potentially gonna.
AT&T fucking us again. You dropped off there for a minute.
I gotta go plug
Me?
up. This thing sucked my battery down on my MacBook real quick. I'll be right back.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you locked up for a minute.
Yeah, we lost you at the beginning of what you started saying when you said the co-own.
Oh, like I was saying, it's got to be a situation where you know this person and it's not just some random thing. Because like the lady that I co-own with, she's somebody I was already doing business with, and I didn't know she was in the area to get another dog. So when I posted and I was like, "Look, this is my keeper female, but I'm potentially wanting to co-own," she inboxed me and was like, "Hey, what I got to do?" And it was like, "Well, I already have a relationship with her. She's already going to shows. I know, you know what I'm saying, her dogs are in good shape." So it was like a no-brainer for me. It was somebody I knew I could trust with my dog.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it needs to be. But yeah, you have all that shit. And just like when we co-owned the last dog, you know, we'd already co-owned another dog. Did he need to see the contract again? Of course he didn't. But I went in and said it to him because we're going to do our due diligence. And one of the reasons we're going to remain friends is because we're going to do everything by the book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that way you don't get to be pissed off if something happens because we're just doing it by the contract.
Exactly.
So emotions don't get to be involved. Like we're just doing it by the book.
And I mean, a lot of times that's not just in dogs. A lot of the times when you start a business endeavor with somebody, they kind of instantly almost remove that and instantly think you're friends now, right? Like they're like, "Oh, well, we're doing business, so we're kind of cool on a different level now." And it's like they remove the business element, and it always fucks up when you do that, right? Like it's never gonna work when you can't be business. We can still be friends at the end of the day, but if the contract states this, then I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's there for a reason.
Yeah. One thing I've always been told: business comes first, friendships come after.
Mm-hmm. So moving forward, how long? What's your kennel goals now, as far as your program, as far as where you're trying to move to now, looking forward?
My biggest thing right now, I would say, would be letting these pups that I have grow, because right now the oldest dog that I have that I'll be showing and breeding is only a year old. What Kobu's what? He actually just turned a year this month.
Yeah, just turned a year.
Just turned a year. So right now I'm just letting these pups grow, evaluating what I have, and just I'm trying to actually get back into shows, because last year I missed a whole lot of shows. I didn't get to do much. I just started back doing my stack boxes. I'm just trying to put myself back out there the way I was before.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
everybody's super young right now. Everybody's super young. Like you didn't have any older dogs at the moment.
So for somebody with a standard, do you think it's best for them to wait that longer time instead of trying to push it, like you said? Because we all know that's a lot of dog to grow into, right? Like Blue wasn't as big as he is now at a year and a half, 2 years. So it's like we all know. And do you feel like it's better to, like you said, let them grow into that dog before you pull them out?
I mean, it depends on what the dog looks like at whatever age you want to start showing. If you're showing in a puppy class, then just expect to be up against a whole lot of big dogs. If you don't think that your dog can stack up next to them, take your time and wait.
I got you.
But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish.
I was about to say, but if you just want to get into it, if you need the experience, if your dog needs the experience, and you're not worried about getting the win, have fun. Just worry about having fun, not trying to get the win.
Mm-hmm.
So you said you didn't really get to see very many shows last year, and you're starting to attend more shows this year, right? Over the years since you've been involved, how has the shows, have they grown? They decreased? What's your honest opinion about it?
From what I've seen, so I actually started showing in mid 2020, but the majority of the show, like once I actually got rolling, I hit a lot of shows in 2021. 2021 was actually it was way bigger than what it is, the community is now as far as showing.
Yeah.
The past shows that the more recent shows I've been to in 2022, and the couple I've been to, actually I only been to one so far this year. They've all been smaller in comparison to what it was.
What do you feel like the reason is? Because I mean, I say it all the time. It's not. I don't take nothing from the ABKC, but I just say I notice a lot more ABKC people venturing out into other registries right now.
I would say that it might be because a lot of people feel as if their dog deserves a win when they can't accept that another dog is taking a win, and everybody wants to blame politics and all this and all that, but in actuality they just didn't have the better dog of that day, and they think that they can find their niche somewhere else.
Yeah.
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 And that's
That
probably
makes sense.
not, honestly, it's probably not bad. I mean, you'll see certain types of dogs bouncing over to UKC just because they're going to excel over there, you know?
Right.
So you can't be mad at people for that. But, you know, we were talking about bringing a dog out and timing on bringing a dog out. That's one loophole that still exists in ABKC. And I think the only way you could ever fix it is if you were to restrict that age to getting points until they were a certain age. So what happens is when you got a 6 to 9 month and 9 to 12 month old male, right? He's in the standard class, whether he's a standard, he's a pocket, or he's a classic, right? So if someone breeds a dog, very good structure, but they have a feeling the dog's going to lack a little bit. So they know that they need to get that dog in the ring quick and early, right? Because when that dog hits a certain age and it doesn't have that mass and bone required to be a standard, they're not going to be able to move forward. They're going to get stuck, you know?
Yeah.
So they want to hurry up. They want to get them through until before they're 1 year old, get them champed out, right? Because then they're a standard champion technically, right? And then they have that title. They can say, oh, no, this dog's a standard champion. He's got plenty of mass and bone. When reality, if you'd have waited till that dog was 2 years old and put him in a standard class, he wouldn't have gone nowhere.
He wouldn't have made it, yeah.
So you remember we started showing Precious early, and the reason I did that is because I thought, my God, she's going to be so extreme.
Yeah.
By the time she's 2 years old, she's going to be too extreme to show. Right? Of course, I was dead ass wrong because here she is at 2 years old, and she's still doing well. But at that time, I thought she's going to get too nuts. Like, we got to get her in there early. And then some dogs are cut the opposite. Some dogs you want to keep out until they get older and they get their mass. So it's I don't know. It's like something you got to learn after a while. You put a dog in too soon. You go, well, maybe I should wait on this one, you know, or there's some you should rush and you should hurry up and get them in there.
Yeah. So QK, last week we had on Kev Green of the BRC, and it seems like the BRC is like the hype of all the registries right now. They got the hype. Have you been to a BRC show, and what do you think they're doing that's drawing such a bigger crowd at the moment?
I've been to one BRC show, and it was in Tampa. And I would say when it comes to Florida and shows of that nature, they're going to pull in more of a crowd because they do take the exotics, the micros, and all those dogs. They accept Merle, so they will bring in a bigger crowd, especially here in Florida, because Florida is big on the exotic scene and the micro scene.
Oh, got a button. That was perfect. He said he's been waiting all show to use that.
His finger been on that somebody since we started.
Yeah. Somebody say something.
Make this noise. I think that's what it is. I think people that tend to they have more extreme dogs, you know, because ABKC is looking for that balance, that perfect balance, right? So if your dog falls on the extreme side of things, you know, you can go to BRC and probably excel pretty well. They definitely want those extreme dogs.
Right.
Yeah.
If your dog falls on the lacking side a little bit, then maybe you go to UKC. You know what I mean? Where you'll excel a little bit. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why people are starting to branch out a little bit as ABKC gets a little more stringent about what they're looking for, what they want.
Hey, what's up? How's everybody doing that's tuning in with, man? We appreciate everybody leaving comments. if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, hit that like button. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. And don't forget, we do upload these to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podfacts.
Yeah, that's right. And we can see all your comments, which is crazy.
And to help with growth, hit that share button too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tag a couple of your friends.
Let's see everybody's. Hey, wait a minute.
Oh, I'm way at the top of it. I was like, wait a minute, why are they talking about co-oms again?
I see.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I've been seeing some posts from like concerning posts about why isn't the ABKC shows like they were right now. I've been seeing a couple of them here and there, and it's like, oh, my boy's out.
So he'd been froze for a couple minutes.
I hope his shit didn't die. He said he was going to get the charger.
His laptop, yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting, and it's like I said, I don't take nothing from ABKC, and a lot of the people that I do talk to that are bouncing around, they're kind of just like on this agenda to get these dual championships or grand championships. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like I talked to Lance, and Lance is he was like, man, I'm trying to hit all of them. Like, I want to hit as many registries as I can just so I can have that stamp on my dog that says, hey, I went out and I put the work in to make my dog a 5-time registry champ. You know what I'm saying? Which, right. if you think about it, that's a dope attribute to have.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there's something about the BRC shows that's just drawing so much more of a crowd right now.
Yeah. And I wonder if it really starts to, I think people have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you go, think about it. If you're a guy and you're looking to buy a dog, right, and the guy says, my dog's ABKC and UKC grand champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go look at another dog and you say, this dog is ABKC and BRC champion, right? Mm-hmm. Those, just by the titles they hold, bring a different picture in my mind.
Yep.
Of what that dog looks like.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, because they're going for different things in each registry. Yeah.
So I feel like, it can be a double-edged sword. Obviously, the people that want that, they're going to say, hey, that's cool shit, right? But at the same time, some people are going to be like, I don't know, if it's UKC, then it's probably not bully enough for me. Or if it's, if it's BRC, it's probably too extreme for me. So
since we on the topic, can I ask y'all a question?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
What registries matter most to y'all?
To be honest, to me, it doesn't really stop my program from doing what I intended to do when I started, right? Like I didn't start with intent. Like I knew these dogs were becoming a household name, and I knew people wanted pets, right? But I knew I wanted to get into it. So it was like, I never had the agenda to really breed to make show dogs or make confirmation dogs or make extreme dogs. My goal was basically just to bring the American Bully to people that wanted them because I fell in love with them. Right. And then I learned that it helps. Like, certain people like the attributes if you're selling back to the community, or certain people want show dogs. Of course, all of the titles help. But
yeah,
like, I tried to tell certain pet home customers about it, and they were just like, that's cool. Yeah. I just give me the dog. You know what I'm saying? So I could see the argument, but it depends on where your market is. And at the end of the day, if you just don't have a market for your brand, period, then you're in bad shape to begin with.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of breeders kind of fall in that, right? So if they're going one direction or another, it's to help their brand. Obviously, they're going to I'm gonna go this way because this is going to help build my brand. So you can't blame anybody for doing any particular thing. But as far as, I think, if you are selling a dog to another breeder, which is not the majority of your sales, to be completely honest,
all right.
I think those titles matter.
Yeah.
I think for the vast majority of dogs that you sell that are just to a person on a couch that just want a pet, I don't think they give a shit, personally. So to me, it's just what I do. It's just what I do. I show dogs. That's what I do. I love to do that. So
yeah,
I don't get the titles for the resale value. I get it because that's what I want to do. I want to build dogs that
got the titles
ring and win. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like I said, I love the aspect of. So it wasn't something that was on my agenda when I started getting. Like, I had pit bulls before, and like my kids were getting older, and I had a few that were still had super game blood, and I was just getting tired of the pit bull, right? Well, then I
Yep.
found a buddy that I went to school with that had a bully, and it was just like it was a takeover. So then when I transitioned, like it wasn't my goal to be a handler or go to shows or anything like that. But then when I got my brother into it, he was like adamant. He was like, "Bro, we got to go to the show. We got to go. We go." And I'm like, "Ah." So then I planned to go, and then now here it is, vice versa. He doesn't like it because he's fucking asocial, and I love it, right? Like I got in the ring for the first time, and I was like, "Oh, this is super dope." You know what I'm saying? Like this is
Yeah.
enjoyable. It's like it's like being at a basketball game again or playing baseball again. So it
Right.
was the sportsmanship, the competitiveness
The
that drew me back
competitiveness.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that didn't work.
Yeah, I don't know. He said, "Can you see me?" I was like, "I just sent a thing back out. I don't know what happened."
Somebody
He
asked,
should be
"Are
a.
we?" I was gonna. Somebody said it's gonna be coming to Jacksonville show, and I was just
Oh
gonna
yeah.
respond in the chat, but it wouldn't let me. Yeah, I'm
Oh
coming
yeah.
He
for
was
sure.
he was asking that. Stan was asking me that too. I think I'm the only one that can
Oh, in the
reply.
stream chat.
Yeah, but it doesn't really like let me reply to individual comments. It just lets me add a comment in the box.
Yeah, it's weird because in private I can respond, but if I try to respond to people's comments, it won't let me know. But yes, I'm coming to Jacksonville. QK's coming.
Yep. I will be there.
I'm trying, man. Like I said, I got so much going on. I'm working with this hockey team. We got a lot. I'm probably gonna be in Winston Salem up there in North Carolina, the North Cackalack.
Roger, on your
Their
way
last.
down, just go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's their last little road games before they come back home. So
I was about
what
to
is
tell
this?
Roger on his way down, just swing through and drag you down to Jacksonville. That's it.
I'm a
Yeah, you got
van
to come
for it.
right through here.
I'm bringing everybody. Not everybody, but I
Nah,
think there's
not everybody.
a lot of
Not
buddies.
everybody.
Um, but yeah, that's you mentioned that work, and I was like, that's another thing. I think it brings a lot of from value from this community is that how many people that are in the American Bully community springboard into something else, or just with even stay within the community, but springboard in something else. I mean, you got QK, he's doing stack boxes, and
Mm-hmm.
he's done a bunch of stuff. You do graphics, and I know a lot of people that not only they get in the community, they get to learn, they pay attention and the need in the community for something. So not only are they breeding dogs, but they're also doing this. They're also, building something or doing something that helps them make money. And I think that's pretty cool that people identify, a need within the community. And then some, we expand even farther than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're a business minded person, you know how to network. Getting in any type of situation around people with the same aspirations and goals would definitely help you elevate. Like, and it's like with the graphics with me with the dog world. Like I was already doing it before I came to the dog world. So then when I started going to shows or I started, meeting more people, I started realizing I was like, well, this is a hot commodity in this community. Like they really need
Right.
designers, and
Some
there's only
people
like,
need.
yeah, there's like nobody around. So it was something that I had to learn how to like make the style of banner that they want. Like I was so used to doing club shit and stuff for brands and businesses that like I remember sending a breeding banner to somebody one time and they were like, "Yeah, bro, like that's super dope. I mean, it's hard, but it looks like a club flyer." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, man, it looks like
That's
we're
what
finna go to
happened.
some event." I was like, "Oh
Right.
shit!" So I had to leave the club style and figure out the dog shit. But once I did it, and that's the thing too, man. Like I try to make myself as accessible as I can to the community because those type of things help people get ahead, right?
Yeah.
Like those little things, like even like how QK went from just the regular stack boxes to now you can get your whole shit wrapped in graphics and it's an elevation to it, right? It's a
Yeah.
process. It's part of the
Yeah.
journey.
Well,
Evolution.
that's with any business. Any business,
So
you
let
need to find a way to step it up and do
yeah.
something different.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that though. Let's talk about how you had the idea to do it. Now, were the first ones that you started doing by hand, or like how did the whole process happen?
So this is a funny story, right? So before I was dealing with the American bullies, I had
Mhm.
my pet female, which she's a bully mix, not registered ABKC, but like her uncle I had before her was what got me into the breed, right? So before I actually got like going with American Bullies, I was into car audio. I was doing competitive car audio and everything else. And I was living up in Indiana. One of my friends in Indiana that was doing the car audio with me owns a CNC business. And once I actually like took interest in American Bullies before it was even before I started showing. I ran across stack boxes. I was like, what is this? And I was like, so this what people do when they trying to start showing their dog. And I was running across the normal 2x4 built stack boxes. And I ran across
they're
another
2x4s, are they?
uh,
Like 1 by somethings.
who you talking? You said mine?
No, I'm talking about the normal ones. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're like 1x3 or something. They're thin.
You know what I mean?
Whatever was in the backyard.
Right. But after I started running across those, I was like, man, I just want to build my own and like start my training and see if I can actually do this. And from there, I found somebody else. Like I ran across somebody else's design that seemed to be something that I could actually do or would be more convenient. And I went to my friend who owns the CNC business, and I was like, can we like make something similar to this, but add our own twist, make it more adjustable, make it easy to put up, like. And he was like, yeah, like how many do you want? I was like, what you mean? I want one. I'm doing this just for me. He was like, is it something that people need that are doing this? I was like, I don't know. I don't actually do this dog stuff like that yet. I wasn't doing it yet. And he was like, man, just like here, we'll do yours. We came up with the design for what it is now. And well, it took maybe 2 or 3 stack boxes before we actually got to what it is. And he was like, test it out, see if you can post it somewhere, see if people actually need it. And that's where it took off from there.
Yeah.
So you have to, do you have to get them mass produced now? Is there a certain amount that you have to get made at a time?
Yeah. There's a there is a minimum quantity that I have to have produced.
I mean that's part of business though. Like people don't realize that they're like, oh Stan, you should do a pink hot lemonade, and he's like, well yeah, that sounds cool and all, but y'all don't realize I got to spend $30,000 and get these things made, shipped at a certain amount of them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like
can't microwave that shit.
Yeah, can't just be like, well let me get 5 of them. They're gonna be like, nah, bro, 100,000 or less.
When I was doing wanted to do powder coating, I went out and bought one of those powder coating ovens. And then you want to do something bigger, so you go to one of these guys that have powder coating oven, which is like the size of a house. Yeah. And then you go and talk to them, and you're like, "Hey, I want to powder coat a set of wheels," and they're like, "I'm not even firing up my oven for that."
Right. You got to make it worth their time. You got to make it worth their time.
So same thing. I'm sure he ain't even going to fire up his CNC machine unless he's got, so many units to do.
Yep.
But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the chat is going nuts on that, on his stack box. But no doubt, I love the way they fold up, and you can it becomes like this thick and just long. You can just tuck it in.
So I like both. I like his. I got to get one from you. I got one from Jameson, and it's like I respect the craftsmanship in Jameson's, right? But it's not something that I can just bring with me down to the next show or put in a car. Like it folds up. It's small, but it's not like travel. You can't, like, it's not like yours. It doesn't just like one piece. Just, you know what I'm saying? I got this big piece of wood now that I got to figure out somewhere to put, and it's like. But I respect both of them because he's using like hardwood that you can't really find, and he's putting his time and effort in their beautiful boxes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I like both of them, but go ahead.
He's one of the people that I recommend when if I'm out or if my style isn't what somebody's looking for. He's the first person I recommend.
Yeah, like I said, that's why I got to get one from you, because it's like I love the one I have for him, but when it does kind of it like gets put up in a look, but it's still like the size of the stack box and the board is so it's still a problem. I can't really just put it in the truck and bring it with me. So
got you.
2023, what do you got planned? You getting back in the ring? Like you said, you got some dogs you waiting to grow, or you gonna start handling other people's dogs? Like, what's your plans for 2023?
I'm one of those people that is more so live for the moment. I don't try to plan too far ahead because you never know what could happen. When it comes to handling other people's dogs, I don't make it my mission to handle somebody's dog, but if they just approach me and they have an actual desire to have that dog put in the ring, and we both see value in it, then yeah, I'll go for it.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about the side hustle. I think that's one of those. I'm telling you, dude, that doesn't come natural. Like I can take a perfectly good dog in the ring and fuck it up big time. So if that's a skill you have, you can guarantee there'll be people that are willing to pay you money to
Yeah.
do it. Guarantee.
Yeah, it's just not one of those things that I've felt. I don't think I'm comfortable doing it. Everybody else tells me to go for it, like start handling other people's dog. I just don't. I haven't felt comfortable enough to just hop in a ring with any dog anybody puts in my hand.
Yeah. I mean, you won't know until you find out.
True.
Yeah, I mean
first.
That's my thing too. Like I was just always raised on having like dogs don't know you, they're not gonna act the same. So it's like I've always been that person too. Like I can't just now, like one time I should like Stan always likes to reference it because it just blew his mind because I went over there to Texas to visit the shop and shit, and then we ended up going to a show. They had an ABKC show in Arlington, so we went, and it's like when I walked in the door, somebody like as soon as we walked in, they was like, "Hey, will you handle my dog? I'm in a bind." And I was like, yeah, I'll help you out. But other than that, like people used to come to me at shows when I was out, and they'd be like, "Will you handle my dog?" But look, I'm sorry, but no, I can't. I'm not just gonna take your money. I'm not just gonna take your $20 to go jump in here and be like, "Oh, well, we tried." You know what I'm saying?
But just like doing, I mean, a good example is just like doing breeding banners. You know, there's 100 fucking guys doing breeding banners. You know, but there's only a few that are doing it amazingly. You know what I mean? And the same people with handling dogs. Like, there's a ton of people that don't handle a dog. But if you can do it great, that's completely different. People are paying good money to have you handle their dog.
Right.
Yeah, and I would imagine that, you know, the people that are, there's probably a list, a line, a weight. You know, you're not just going to hit them and be like, "Hey, can I?" And they're probably going to have a dog already. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be booked up.
Exactly. MJ Bullies wanted to know what happened to Instagram Live. This is going to take over Instagram Live. I think.
Can't nobody hold us down.
Because this was kind of impromptu. Like I don't think we even
moving. Instagram was just too many issues as far as a lot of things. Like just the server would drop out sometimes and it'd be laggy. When I would download the videos afterwards to upload them, the audio would not be synced with the video, and it would be all like, that type of stuff. So it just came to the point where it was so many setbacks and problems with us getting y'all the best quality we could that we finally decided to get off Instagram.
So show banners from now on will reflect YouTube and Facebook Live. We had already did this one, and I think this was kind of because QK was like easily jumping on is why we just said let's just do it.
It kind of took you long enough to convince me to actually do it, but
it's dope though, man. It's you know, we just trying to bring that info that we want that shit accessible to everybody, and everybody in the community can play their part, right? And I'm the type of person where I can learn something from every person I come across. So if we can have a conversation and we can get this dog talk out, then there's a lot of people that don't have access to the people that we know, or the time to sit down with Roger. You know, Roger's busy. QK's busy. Like a lot of people can't just pick up the phone and ask you shit that they want to ask you. So we feel like these are episodes that the community can learn from. The new people can, you know, and then at the same time we might let you win a brand new car. No.
He gave us
man. Yeah, man. Yeah, I got all kinds of buttons over here.
Buttons.
I got the buttons. But yeah, man, so that's what we're going to be doing from here on out. For those asking about the IG, we'll be on Facebook and YouTube Live, and then it'll still be the same process. Tomorrow morning, I'll upload it. It'll be on Apple, Spotify, Google, the whole nine, and none of that will change. QK was telling me about a way that we might be able to bring Instagram back into the situation with a streaming service that they let you tie in with, so we'll figure that out. But for now, this is what it's going to be. It's just better quality. We feel like we can give y'all a better show this way.
Insane to me that you can stream on Facebook and it doesn't automatically stream on Instagram.
Yeah, because they're the same company now.
Yeah, it's the same company.
Yeah.
I mean, if you share a story, guess what happens? That shit goes right to Instagram automatically.
Yeah. I think it's something to do with the the way the server is.
Yeah,
like
possible.
Facebook has a server to where you can upload and do all, and Instagram's more just like video and picture. Right. So I don't know. It blew my mind too because I thought the same thing. Wait a minute, don't y'all own each other? Why didn't this work the same?
Yeah, this shit should work just flawlessly. It should work automatically. I think Stan's out for the night. I think he killed his.
Yeah, he was texting me and he was like, I don't know what happened. I'm trying. So and then he was just like, y'all just killed the show without me. So
okay.
Technical difficulties on that end. QK, man, before we get up out of here, bro, what's something you want to leave the people with? Let's say somebody's new starting, they're about to get a dog tomorrow. Just give them some info real quick. Tell them something they need to know.
First thing I would say is make sure you get into it for the right reasons and not just for money. Take your time, learn about the breed, learn about the dog you're getting, learn about lineages, and figure out whether or not showing is a thing that you actually want to be interested in, like want to get into. And breeding isn't for everybody because none of this is easy. None of it is easy.
No, it takes a lot, man. It's, I got a lot of respect for the people that do attend shows on the regular because, like y'all know, I did it for a year solid. I hit almost every single show ABKC had that year. And it takes a lot, bro. From, you got to have somebody, if you got other dogs, you got to have somebody stay home and take care of the fort. And shit ain't cheap. So if you want to get into it, just know that it's going to take some investing and it's going to take some money that for the first, amount of time, you probably won't see back for a while until you can build your brand up, make a name for yourself and do what you got to do.
All right.
Yeah, a guy just messaged me the other day and he was like, hey, I want to get into American Bullies. What should I do? I said, well, the first year you shouldn't do nothing. You should
save your money.
You should go to every show you can go. You should touch every dog you can touch. You should shake every hand you can shake.
Yeah.
And you realize, do I want a show dog? Do I want a dog with more extreme features? Figure out what you want first and figure out how to read a pedigree, how to understand what's going on. After you do all that, which, believe me, the shit's tough, right? Because you're going to see a dog and you're going to be like, that dog's fucking bad. I'm going to buy that dog. You know what I mean? And then you buy it and then it ends up being a reindeer. And then you're starting all over anyway.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you can take the time and just not rush into it, just take your time, learn what it is that you want in the first place. Because a lot of people will change their vision based off of that first dog they buy. If that dog turns out to be a certain thing, then they're just going to be like, hey, you know what? That's fine. That's what I like. I like that. That's what I like. But the reality of it is that wasn't what they wanted originally.
Yeah.
They just changed their vision to fit the dog that they just bought. So
be prepared for losses.
Money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we really do need to normalize in our community putting a dog on the couch. Like, it's not a bad thing. If you buy a dog,
not at all.
It doesn't look the way you expected it to look. I know you paid X amount of dollars for it. Just take the L.
Yeah, take that L.
Move the dog on and get back to work.
Yeah, because, you see it a lot. People want to try to recoup that $5,500 they spent on the dog. And it's just like, even though the dog shouldn't be sold as breeding rights or whatever, they still try to do it to get the most out of each, So that's one thing. Just be selective. I think one thing I would do if I started over would be I would have more females than males. Like, I would focus more on the females to build than to, be like, oh, he's going to be that one. Because, everybody wants that one stud, but you'll like get lost in the sauce. And then next thing you know, you're like, shit.
Right.
None of you motherfuckers are him.
Yeah, people don't understand what it takes to actually have a successful stud. They don't understand how much goes into it.
And if you want to have a successful co-owning system, where you want to breed dogs and co-own them out to people, you having a selection of studs is a giant benefit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Because the dog is 50% yours, the breeder, which means your co-own that's receiving the dog is going to be able to use any of your studs for free.
Right.
Like, it's your dog too.
Yeah.
Right. So it's attractive when you go to co-own with somebody and then you say, hey, I want to co-own with this guy because he's got, 3, 4, 5 studs. They're all amazing. And I'll be able to use one of those dogs on my female that I'm getting from you.
Yeah.
So
that's how I did my call. I was like, look, I want to keep this dog. I have plans to breed her to a stud I have on my yard, but I just need more room at the house, and I'd rather co-own to somebody. So it's like I already had the vision that like she's just basically just waiting, right? And then when it's time, the stud's ready and it's there, it's accessible.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and you got a dog. I've actually still got 2 males that I'm holding on to. One of them eventually will leave, but that's not because I can't get rid of him. It's because I'm trying to figure out which one I want.
I mean, you done already made your decision.
I thought so.
Nina's dog.
I thought so. Oh, she flip flopping too because she was looking at mine the other day and she was like, "Oh no, he's looking pretty good. He's looking pretty good."
I would say that too.
I was like, "We can't
go with that natural instinct, that first choice."
The other boy, I'm gonna tell you what it is. This is the only difference. The one boy, his muzzle does not narrow. It starts out wide at his eyes and it just stays wide right to the end, and it's just blunt at the end. I like a dog that tapers a little bit. I can't help it, but it needs to start out wide, and I want it to taper, not a lot, not like pointy, but just taper a little bit. Give it the kind of that small taper. The one boy has a taper on the muzzle. The other boy's is just square, blocky.
And everything else about them is the same.
Oh my God! If I put something over top of their heads, there's no way you tell the difference between them.
Crazy.
None.
That's crazy.
Absolutely none.
That's the consistency we looking for.
Yeah. So, just is what it is. I just have to keep them till they're like 3 till figure it out. Someone's going to get up with a 2-year-old dog that's probably already champion. They're like, here, finish that.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. Yeah, my wife will be like, we just keep them both. Yeah, I don't need the DNA twice.
That makes it worse, right?
Twice.
Yeah.
All right, all I need is one time.
All right. Well, QK, man, we really appreciate you taking the time to come on here. We know everybody's got busy schedules. They got dogs to tend to. They got kids and everything, the whole nine. So, man, we really appreciate it. And before we get up out of here, let the people know where they can get in touch with you at.
You can find me on Facebook at Qk Watkins. On Instagram, I honestly forget my Instagram name sometimes. Hold on. TikTok is legendary. It's born.legends. And on Instagram, it is legendary.bulliesblbk.
There you go. I knew it was one of those. Excellent.
And I appreciate y'all for having me.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, man. Like we said, man, we always we'll reach out back on further down the year, and we always try to do a part 2 with everybody, bring it back on later down the road.
Hey, for sure. I'm with it.
All the viewers.
So, man,
this is it. This is the new thing. Like, no more Instagram.
Spread the word. Let them know, hey, man, I was on Instagram. I didn't see them. Tell them, hey, they on Facebook and YouTube. Yep. Go check them out.
Hit that share button.
For sure, man. We appreciate everybody tuning in. And like always, Team X Dog Strong.